Mid-senior level employee building professional appearance outside of work does not want company branding. Anonymous post, but located in North Carolina, but we are a global company. We're in a weird stalemate with a high performer, and we've never had this happen before. About a year and a half ago, this employee emailed her boss to let them know that she'd been asked to speak on some podcasts due to her PhD work, but wanted to know how, if at all, she should mention our company. The podcast was industry specific, and what she had to say was on point and on brand, well thought out, and had evidence to support her stances. The leadership team discussed her inquiry and ultimately decided such advertisement and push for the company was reserved for C-suite level and up, thanked her for considering the marketing aspect but declined, and requested she not mention the company she worked for or wear anything with the company brand. She gracefully understood and went on her way, working and continuing her education. Apparently, over the last year and a half, this employee has been working in her off time to build her brand for her academic presence while working on her PhD, and since has been invited on several larger podcasts and other speaking events. One of our VPs recently found out she was speaking at a larger conference as a guest panelist. They brought this to HR's attention, asking who approved her speaking, and we brought her in for RCA. She said that based on last discussions she had with us, which she had an email from HR and marketing, was that representing the company was reserved only for C-suite level. All of her speaking events were under her PhD endeavors, and she carefully selected events that happened on days she wasn't working or scheduled her vacation around them. All of her speaking events she had arranged by building relationships with others, networking, and then scheduling them herself. We dug in further and reviewed some of her events she had posted on her blog, and sure enough, not one mention of our company, our brand, our logo, and all of her discussions are centered around her studies and her research and how it can impact the business and the industry, but in generalized terms. We also noticed that her LinkedIn profile did not have any job history information other than her PhD work and the blog she runs. She also has a heavy social media presence on other platforms, but no mention of our company. Here was where it gets tricky. During our investigation, VP of Marketing wanted to get on board with the employee and tie in our company for branding, as this employee did have a rather wide audience, and they felt like they could capitalize on it. When they approached the employee, she tactfully and politely declined, as if she felt like she had put in all this hard work on her own and felt like it was unfair diligence on the company that now they realize the audience she has, they want to partner with her. Some are calling to fire her for misuse of social media, but she hasn't said anything negative about the company. She hasn't even mentioned the company. Others are calling to fire her for insubordination, for not wanting to work with us on getting our company name out there. She's a top performer. She meets all of her deadlines and metrics. If the VP hadn't seen the advertisement with this employee's name and face, none of us would know she was doing this outside of working hours. What would be the best way to handle this moving forward? Oh, this is good. Oh my goodness. So she's probably also within your social media guidelines as a company. Probably has something standard that says, don't speak on behalf of the company. So she's probably not afoul of any policies. So good on her. What would be the best way to handle this moving forward? Have a lessons learned conversation with the VP of marketing to explain to them that this is what happens whenever you discourage employees from speaking and representing the company, and she's under no obligation to represent the company. And if they want to fire her from insubordination, that they are walking a very, very heavy line, and they're maybe consult with your legal team as well on what that would do, and advise them heavily against firing her for insubordination for this whenever she's acting completely within company policy. So that's what the best way to handle that moving forward is. And then maybe do a little bit better job of vetting your employees whenever they ask to speak on behalf of the company at conferences. If people ask to speak, maybe dedicate more energy and effort towards understanding how they're going to speak, what their goals are, and what they want to do, and do a better job of deciding whether or not you want to encourage them to represent your company or not. That is what you do. As for the employee, I think it's a lost cause for you. And if I were her, based on this whole interaction and seeing this whole rigmarole of an investigation, I'd be using those industry connections to leave your company, because my goodness, it's just really toxic of an environment it sounds like that you got there. So that's what I'd say. Let's see what the comments say. Top comment: tell your VP to sit down and be quiet, or promote this other girl to the C-suite. After all, that's the condition they put in place for such representation, isn't it? He had the opportunity to make her life easier by letting her use the company brand. He decided not to. She has had to work harder and prove that she deserves to be at these tables because your company unreasonably asked her to hide where she worked. Your company does not deserve any benefit from her hard work, and you are trying to steal from her the brand that she has built without you and has nothing to do with her jobs. You should be ashamed of even thinking you can get to use her off-work brand without paying her. If you want her to be an advertiser for you, negotiate fair pay for that service separately from her salary. She essentially did the equivalent of writing a book. She built something apart from you. If you want to benefit from that, then you need to buy it. Whew. That is good. They kind of took the words out of my mouth. That is, yeah, oh my goodness, that is a good one. So that was from Ask HR, and I just thought it was kind of relevant because it's an engineering career question. And man, if that employee asked me what to do in her situation, I'd say, get out of there. My goodness. And get out of the crosshairs of that VP of marketing. My goodness. Unless somebody in your leadership stands up for you, has a conversation with that VP of marketing, and then comes to you and says, hey, I have a conversation with them. It's dealt with. They were acting completely unprofessionally. I'm so sorry they did this. I'm really proud of you for what you've done. This is awesome. Best wishes to you. If you change your mind, please let us know what kind of arrangement would work for you. That's the conversation that needs to be had with me if I'm that girl in that position. Otherwise, I'm using my network to get out of there. And I'm I'm sure by now she's already left. I wish that there was an update to that post that said, oh, by the way, she left.
I'm miscommunicating. I just made a pilot, then they threw me on the stations. Now I'm not complaining, My thoughts get complicated, I cannot explain in layman's. Never losing focus because I ain't chasing payments. Still playing in the basement while I'm working on arrangements. They heard the kid in 50 countries, thank God that's amazing. But I'd rather thank Spotify, they put me on the station.